We are here at a site belonging to Realty Point, a real estate company. This site is about 2 hectares. In 2008, about 10 years ago, a plot of land here would cost you about 2 million naira. Today in 2018, you cannot get it less than 16 million. That is why everyone wants a piece of a real estate, especially here in Lagos. It's a very risky journey on your way to investing, which you must be very cautious. How do you not lose your entire savings while trying to make the investment? We've had cases of fraud all over Lagos about people trying to invest in real estate. Today at this edition of Bounce Masterclass, we shall be talking about how to stay safe during a real estate transaction. Welcome to this edition of Bounce Masterclass. My name is Jonah.
Hi, my name is Kiki.
Sean Kentebe.
Deyemi Okolawon.
Je m'appelle Ufoma McDermott.
Ronke Odusoya.
Sean Wajaya.
And you're watching
Bounce.
Bounce.
To see a lot more.
Click here to subscribe, okay?
I have tracked the Managing Director of Realty Point Limited, Mr. Debo Adejana. Thank you, Mr. Debo, for joining us here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
very much.
So, this is your own site.
Yes, these
And
are Cedar home sites.
Good. So, real estate in Nigeria is a premium investment. Everybody wants a piece of it. Every man wants to have one.
Yeah, all
But
over the world.
It
really.
comes with lots of risks. So, should I decide to put my money in a real estate investment? What should be the first thing, my most important consideration?
Okay, fine. So, well, my name is Debo Adejana. As I said, I'm the MDC of Realty Point Limited. They call us the Sack Your Landlord people. Okay. So, if you want to invest in real estate,
Yes.
the first thing on your mind is authenticity.
Good.
That's the genuineness of what it is that you are putting your money on.
Yes.
It is after that that the returns on investment becomes a consideration. Because if ab initio you are putting your money on nothing, no matter what you think the return on investment will come to, it will come to nothing.
Yes.
So authenticity becomes the key thing.
Good.
And you can verify authenticity taking certain steps when investing in real estate.
Okay, so when you say authenticity, you mean whether the deal is even real or not.
Exactly. Does the deal exist? Is it built? You know, and so in your consideration for that will be one.
Yes.
If it is, let's say, land you're buying,
Yes.
you're buying a plot of land or something. So you want to find out, hey, is this plot of land that I'm being shown, does it exist?
So how do you even find out?
Yeah, so you start from the documentation.
Good.
You see, real estate transactions, like you said in the opening, is a premium all over the world. It's a premium investment all over the world, not just in Nigeria. And it has some characteristics. One of it is that it's immovable. So you can't buy a piece of real estate, hook it to your trailer, and move. It will still have to stay there.
Yes.
So, however, your interest, because that's really the ownership. It's
Yes.
not ownership like you own a piece of item.
Yes.
So your interest in real estate, that's the ability, what gives you the right to be able to enjoy some benefits, okay, from that, whatever, is represented in some form of documentations.
Yes.
And so for you to prove the genuineness of what you want to buy, you have to then scrutinize the documentations that you've been presented.
Good. So most times the problem is I haven't engaged in a real estate deal before.
Okay.
I have a document with me and the dealer is telling me it is his land, these are the documents. How do I even verify?
I would say, hey, make use of certain professionals.
Okay.
There are a number of professionals in the real estate field that may have to come to your aid, okay, in helping you verify. One, you can use, sometimes you can use maybe a fulcrum professional, something like the pivotal professional that can help you coordinate all of the investigation that needs to be done. At times that is an estate agent or an estate surveyor and valuer. Okay, at times that could be a lawyer, depending on their exposure and their level of experience.
So-
Okay, but first and foremost,
Yes.
what you need to find out starts from what we call the survey. The survey on the land is like the name of the land, is the birth certificate, let's put it that way, in a way, for the land. That's what says that, hey, this land exists here. So that survey is what you first scrutinize. So I would usually tell people, go to the site of the land that you are shown. I mean, make sure you get there and check the survey you've been given. A land surveyor can help you pick coordinates, or you can pick, if you know how to use the smartphones of this age, okay? You pick coordinates where you are on site and compare to the document that you've been given to be sure that it is the same land that is represented on that survey.
Now you've gone really very technical. So the number 2 advice beyond authenticity, don't do it alone.
Do with professionals.
What are the points, the things I would know, the telltale signs that I would see and I will know that fraud is
There's
happening?
something fishy. Well,
Yes.
so if it is just by way of probably inspection or your transaction and all, there are a number of things that can give you some hint as to whether there is a problem on
Yes.
this transaction. For example, if you are being rushed into a transaction.
Okay. If you are being rushed, number
I
1.
mean, somebody is telling you, hey, if you don't pay now, somebody else is paying tomorrow and all. Then if they are trying to avoid, they are proposing to you a means of payment that will be short of a trail. So somebody is asking you to pay in some way that you won't be able to
trace it.
link it up to him or her later in life. You must be careful.
Like pay with cash.
Like pay with cash, like pay, you are buying property from me, is in my name, the documents are in my name, but I say, hey, for no reason, for no justifiable reason or no supporting document, I say write the check in favor of somebody else you've not met, you don't know, and you don't know the relationship or the correlation with the transaction. That may be one way I'm trying to avoid being
Traced to the
traced
transaction.
to the transaction. So you may want to be careful. Then if you inspect a site, let's say you're buying land, for example, you've been told you're buying land, and then you got there only to see that there are signs of development on the land. Maybe there's been block work done, foundation and all of that. Probably demolition even has happened and all of that. And you are getting there to know, and you are getting to ask before they are offering some form of explanation. That gives you an inclination. In fact, ab initio, the fact that there is some development there, even if you've not been there and they told you, you must really be careful about the explanation, because I mean that could be a problem waiting to happen. Okay, so but if they did not tell you at all and you only got to the site to discover this, that should put you on your toes. Okay, so that's another thing. And then I tell people that, hey, if the person who is offering you some form of a purchase or maybe acting as a vendor does not have documentation in the name of it got burnt where we were living before, but I'm the owner, I've been here for so people can tell you I'm the owner. Stuff like that are not tenable. Okay, if you've lost your property documents, there are legal means by which you can reacquire some other papers to represent what it is that you own. Okay, there are CTC copies, that you can apply for and stuff like that. Okay, so you shouldn't just let somebody tell you, hey, I'm the whatever. Or if you verifying a property and you come up with some pictures, some information, and the face is not just exactly like what you are seeing. Maybe it looks like this person that you are now being presented looks older or looks much younger or stuff like that. It doesn't just correlate. You know, you should also be on your toes and on your guard regarding that kind of transaction. Because there has been instances where, people have been impersonated to sell property. And then if you are offered a juicy property, they say, man, we are in need of cash because this person is sick and you are presented with a sick person, really, okay? This person is sick and needs to be rushed to the hospital. There is an emergency operation that needs to be taken. It needs to be, flown out of the country maybe to India to UK to US, and that's why we are selling this property. And that's why we are really not selling. You know, the going rate around there is 20 million, but we are ready to take 10 million just to sell and to be able to take care, because life is wealth and all of that.
Yes.
Health is wealth, you know, and they tell you all of that. You should be mindful. A lot of people have been duped thinking that they are buying a hot property. You know, in real estate, there's what we call the motivated seller. Somebody who has a reason to sell and to sell now. Okay? A lot of people have been duped with the story of a motivated seller. Okay? There are motivated sellers. There are times where people have to sell their property below market rate. Yes. But you see, if each of those presentations comes, you have to assess them on their merit. It's not always the case all the time. And I say this to people. If any transaction looks too good to be true
Then it's
in real
certainly-
estate, most of the time it
is.
is not true, really. So you just have to be on your guard.
Hello everyone, this is Bam Bam.
Teddy,
Download Bounce News app. Your news.
your edge.
If I have fallen victim of fraud
Okay.
in any real estate, what
Okay.
should be my best course of action?
Well, I would say get a lawyer, report the matter maybe to the authorities, and see what remedy, you can have from there. That's really where it is. That's really where it is. If you've been duped, then get a lawyer.
How easy is it to recover my...
Well, depending on who duped you, if this is not his stock in trade, if he's an amateur and this is not his profession,
Good.
if he has not been able to cover his tracks very well, and the money is still handy somewhat, okay, so it's not like there's been a lot of gap in terms of time between when you were duped and when you realized
Yes.
and started pursuing. Yeah, you may be able to get some. And also considering our justice system.
Realty Point is asking people to sack their landlord. How easy is it to sack a landlord in Lagos?
We tell people, number one, your first house need not be your last. Because I think we've come to realize that it's a mindset thing. Yeah, we know that we have peculiar challenges regarding opportunities that there are for people to be able to become landlords in the country. Yes, we have, as compared to other developed world. It's not as easy here, but we have also come to realize that it's also a game of the mind. Okay, so a lot of Nigerians think that, hey, I want my first house, so I want my first house. First, they have this notion of I want my first house, so I want a palatial house. So they are preparing themselves till when they will be able to afford a palace. Okay, when they can start from wherever they are, with whatever they have. Okay, so what we tell people about that is, look, if you don't have real estate in your portfolio, you can't be considered to be wealthy. You've not even started. Okay, so, and the earlier you have real estate in your portfolio, the better for you. So the first thing to do is that your first house need not be your last house. That's number one. Then you need not stay in your first house. The most important thing should be that you have it. It may not be where you can stay, maybe because of where you work, for example. Sincerely, if somebody works on the island, okay, and what he can afford is somewhere after Songwater or somewhere, I may not be the first person to tell him he must move there to stay. No. But I will still tell him he can acquire the property there and rent it out. Because you already then have real estate in your portfolio and you can buy forward. So meaning in a few years' time, you can sell that. So move from Songwater to Abule Egba. And in a few years' time, you can sell that. Move from Abule Egba to Agege. And in a few years' time, you can sell that. And you can find yourself in the thick of Ikeja.
Interesting.
And we have stories of people that have done that projection, okay? And have moved from far-flung areas like that. And they're in the city center today. Some of them on the island, some of them on the mainland, but prime places, you know. So that is the important thing. But you see, the thing is that they started
From somewhere.
at all, rather than just wishing and hoping and planning. And I tell people, a lot of people repeat the sad story of the typical Nigerian landlord. So the typical Nigerian landlord story goes like this. This guy, from his youth, wants to live in a palatial house. Unfortunately, he did not come across Realty Point Nobody told him to sack his landlord. Nobody told him the earlier the better. So he was working somewhere. He could rent Surulere apartment. So he feels that since he could afford Surulere rent, he also would want his own house to be in Surulere when he's to build it. And he's waiting till he could
Make money
make
to
that.
build.
And unfortunately for
Surulere.
him, he could not. So maybe towards the tail end of his career, he suddenly became wiser and realized that, hey, if I should stop work, I may not even be able to sustain my Surulere rent. What do I do? Let me get something. Let me just build something. So he got a land in Ota, and then started building. 3 years, he finished his house. He also retired, got his gratuity, went into business that he knew nothing about. The money went. And because the building of the house has taken a toll on him and all, then this other saga of losing his entitlement, his gratuity, starts affecting his health. He falls sick. He just completed his house. He has moved his family now out of Lagos to Ota. And then he's sick, on his deathbed, probably, terminal sickness. He assesses his life and he says, wow, there is nothing that I've gained. Apart from being able to train my children, I really can't say, this is the only piece of property I have. That's the only thing I can say I've achieved. And now, unfortunately for me, I can't live there. I can't enjoy it. I'm dying. So he tells his children, hey guys, there's one favor you have to do for me. I want to be buried in my compound. Because if I can't live there alive, let me at least live there dead. So you have a lot of private cemeteries around town. Okay? People who could not live in the house while they are alive. So they had to live there dead. Because what will it be? How important will a property be to you that if you were able to achieve, we have stories of people like Samuel Adedoyin, was able to build his first house, I think around 19 years of age or something. We have people who did it around 18, people who did it 20 something and all of that. If you were able to achieve your first house, I still read the story of a man who built his first house at 27 and I think his second house at 31. If you're able to do that, I'm 28 and his second house at 31. If you're able to do that, okay, and then by the time you are 70, you definitely will have some houses. I mean, you will find a better place to rest
Fantastic.
than
So
your compound.
It is completely easy to sack your landlord.
Very.
And on that note, we come to the end of this edition of Bounce Masterclass. I hope you have been educated and then willing to make your first real estate investment. Thank you, Mr. Debo.
Thank you very much, Bounce News.
Most appreciate.
It's our pleasure.
You can follow us on Twitter at Bounce News NG, our Facebook at Bounce News Nigeria, and then you can click the subscribe button on that YouTube channel so we can let you know when the next edition of Bounce Masterclass is ready. Thank you for watching. My name is Jonah Mokwoko.
Yo, what up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your favorite boy, I'm Shine.
Okay, Mr. Song is the Kingmaker.
If we're not at
Leo the Silver.
Fanika,
Angel.
always
download
Bounce News.
Bounce News.
Bounce News app from
The Google Play Store.
and the Apple Store.
It's fun.
Keep bouncing.